See if you look really closely at the TV in the background there, you can see my reflection. Hiya. Right, okay, I've not made a video in absolute months, and I've put up a couple of videos explaining why, but do you know what, I kind of feel like I want to make a video today, which is good because I'm hoping that will continue, you know, to sort of keep me motivated to make videos. Anyway, the reason I'm making the video is because I got this big massive package in the door today. It is something I found on eBay. It's actually two things I found on eBay. They were sort of a bundle, and one of the things I was like, well, that's actually quite cheap, considering it's a buy it now and it's not on bids and I don't have to sort of wait and trying to get a deal, and you know, I've kind of wanted one of these for a while. They were listed as untested, but I've got faith. I think that even if it is faulty, I'll be able to get it working just fine. If I can't, and I'll be honest about it, and I'll just say, you know what, Phil done a goof and didn't get it working. Anyway, let's use our good friend Stanley to crack this open. I've changed the camera angle a little bit because it's quite hard to, you know, open these things with certain angles. So yeah, it is two consoles. You can probably tell that from the size of the package and the fact I said it was two things. Can you imagine it was just like one game or something like that? Wait, you know something I've saw worse? Amazon are terrible for sticking like SD cards in humongous packaging, and when you open them up it's just like the tiniest little thing imaginable. This is quite weirdly packed. Anyway, forward march. I'm hoping there's quite a lot of packaging in here. And there is, and just so you can see, I'm going to cover up what it is just to give you a bit of a surprise, but basically I paid £30 with no cost to post, so it was free postage and it was 30 quid, which I think's not bad, and I also just bought it because, you know, I was feeling a bit glum and I wanted to cheer myself up. Anyway, free bin bags. I was about to make a joke about them using like old plastic bags and stuff to save on the shipping, but you know what, see when I'm selling stuff on eBay, I do that as well. I use like bags for life and stuff, and you know, stuff that you probably shouldn't use because it harm the environment. Anyway, move the box out of the way so that you don't see everything that's in here. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you is something I actually already have. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick it on eBay because why would I have two of the same thing? I'll make sure it's working first and give it a good refurb and a good, you know, make it look as new as I can before I sell it. And I probably won't sell it for much, but I'm going to probably sell it. I'll either sell this one or I'll sell the one, oh god, this is dusty. This is going to need a refurb. Anyway, yeah, I will probably either sell this one or the one that I've got already. And it is this thing, which is a Pong machine, and it's a Grandstand 3000, as you can see from the decal on the front. These are quite cool looking, but they don't serve much of a purpose. They don't have much functionality to them. They're usually just Pong, or variations of Pong. So you'll get like, as you can see on there, there's like football, squash, tennis in practice, and they're almost all the same, apart from like maybe it'll be like one of them will be single player and the other one will have two sort of lines bouncing a pixel across the screen. Built-in controllers, really cool controllers with like you know, the sort of potentiometer things on them. Is that what you call them? Resistors, and a wee clicky button, which is nice because it's actually clicky. This is really dirty. I actually thought that it takes batteries as well, but I thought this was missing because in the pictures it didn't have this on it, but I don't know if maybe they just took it off to see what kind of batteries it takes so they could try it out. It might be that this is actually not working. The metal on the back there is a bit kind of goofed as well, but I'll be able to do something about that. Very dusty, nice little thing though. It's cool if you want a Pong console of some sort, but you don't want something too big and over cumbersome. This one might be quite good for you because it's, you know, it's small enough. It's got an RF lead built into it. If there's something wrong with this RF lead, I'm fairly certain you can open it up and swap them out, because usually they're just plugged in with a jack inside, just like the Atari 2600. But I'll test it all out anyway. I'm probably going to actually test them out on camera. But I do need to pick up a couple of things for the other console that's inside this box. But anyway, I'm ranting on. Let's just forward march. Let's show you what else is in here, and I'm fairly excited about this. I'm not gonna lie. Let's see. One of the controls came flying out, that's fine. Pop it back in where it's supposed to go. Anyway, so the other console, of which I'm fairly excited to even have one, even if it doesn't work. I've never really saw one in my puff. Is an Intellivision. A Mattel Intellivision to be precise. One of the main competitors to Atari back in the day. And yeah, I've never actually properly used one of these. Strange controllers. Controllers which are, of course, built into the console. And can be tucked away on the top, which I kind of like. The only problem with that is if they go faulty, then sometimes that can be a pain in the backside. But quite strangely, I don't see... Ah, wait, I'm putting it in the wrong way. You need to slide them in this way. This one's a bit strange. Ah, there you go. Cool. So, yeah. And Intellivision. Something else to add to the pile of consoles in this room of which I don't have room for. It's in fairly good condition. I like the wood grain. I'm always a fan of wood grain. And let's see what's on the back. See, it's funny, right? I didn't know the Intellivision actually has a built-in power supply, which is why it's just using a two-prong sort of standard plug. Which means you can just stick it straight into the mains, as long as it's not, I'll need to double check this isn't like an American version. I think I'm fairly certain it's, there's a sticker on the bottom that says something about, there's a sticker on the bottom that says something about CCAM, which is a French, I don't really know, I don't know what that's for. That's interesting. I've never saw that before. I'm not very good with French, but that looks like it says something to do with it's been adapted to work with CCAM, which is not PAL, which means I might have some trouble with this. That'll be interesting. Pretty sure I can probably do something to fix it though. Because the controller fell out. It's actually in fairly good condition. The metal is a little bit sort of the gold sort of strips are a little bit dented and a little bit kind of, you know, not as new as they could be, but you know what, it's fine. It's considering how much I paid, I'm actually quite happy. But yeah, I can't really test it out more than, you know, just sort of plugging it in and then seeing nothing appear on the screen because I don't have any games for it. I do have cables I could use, but I don't know if I'll get a signal from it straight away, and I'm pretty sure it doesn't have any built-in games. But yeah, so you'll be pleased to know if you've ever watched any of my repair videos on my channel, or you know, anything where I'm sort of messing around with consoles, I always tend to sit on the floor, which I was fine with. I used to just put down mats and things, but what I was finding is that I was getting pins and needles in my feet because I tend to sit on my feet, you know, like a primary school kid, like someone that's in like kindergarten. But I've now got a workbench, complete with a, you know, a very bright light, so I can see what I'm doing when I'm doing soldering, and my soldering gun and my heat gun and my glue gun, they're all sitting there, and yeah. Anyway, the reason I was even, you know, using this excuse to show you my workbench is because I was just going to show you like what I actually do to sort of, you know, clean up consoles a bit. And a lot of people aren't going to like this because other than using sort of, you know, sticky stuff remover and, you know, some other cleaning materials, the one thing I love to use is a bit of WD-40 on a microfiber cloth. Now, a lot of people will say that this is not good for the plastic on the console and it can damage the plastic, blah, 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 blah. I just, honestly, no offence, but I just don't believe that at all. I've done this for yonks. Like, I've used WD-40 to clean all sorts and I've never saw it damage anything. Don't get me wrong, if you sprayed it directly onto the console, I can imagine it might do something to the plastic because you're just saturating it in, like, you know, stuff that, I mean, it's sort of, where would you count this? I'm trying to decide what you would actually call WD-40. It's almost like a lubricant. Not like a lubricant, it's like a solvent. Well, I think it's a solvent anyway, so you don't want to put too much of it on plastic anyway, but putting a little bit of it on a cloth is not going to harm anything, and it never has done in my experience. But anyway, so what I like to do, because I feel like it gets that original kind of coat of dirt off it fairly easily, I just like to give it a good wipe down. You can always use other products and you can go over it with other things, but as a sort of starting point, I always do just give it a right good rub down with WD-40. And it tends to show you where the marks are as well, if there's anything that you need to sort of buff out with like a sanding tool, or, you know, I like to go over things with the sort of polishing tool and the Dremel sometimes. Works specifically good on shiny plastic on a Mega Drive if you know what you're doing. I might actually show you that sometime on camera. But no, like if you give it a wipe down, it's a good starting point. As you can see, there's some amount of dirt actually coming off. Now, don't get me wrong, there are certain types of plastic when you're refurbing things that you need to watch out for. There's both a laptop, which you might have actually already saw on the channel. There was a laptop I was refurbishing, and it wasn't even WD-40 I was using, it was actually just cleaner, like contact cleaner, kind of, you know, alcohol based stuff. But the plastic had already started to deteriorate. It was that kind of rubberized plastic, of which was all sticky and sort of, you know, it's already coming off. So if you use that on it, it's going to try and remove it, and that might not be too great, because then you're going to basically have to sort of scrub it all off. Some people might want to try and fix that coating, just give it a spray with something, you know, like use like a lacquer or something like that, and just hope that it hardens and stops it from being sticky. In my experience, it's just better to remove it if you can. So I did remove all of that sticky stuff off of that plastic, because it is just going to deteriorate anyway. I've not saw any products with that plastic that rubberized coating that's actually survived, like phones and consoles and all sorts. Like, honestly, it's just better removing it. But yeah, that's the one time I'd probably avoid using like something quite as intense as like either WD-40 or rubbing alcohol, or, you know, I would just avoid that completely. But as you can see, quite a lot of dirt coming off this already, and I'm going to just sit and do this and sort of buff it up, and then I'll probably try plugging it in a little bit. But yeah, I'm going to just basically sit and clean it up. But yeah, another thing I like to do when I'm cleaning out these consoles is, quite a lot of the time as part of the design, you get like ridges and like divots and, you know, stuff to make it look a bit more futuristic. Like this thing here, this grill in the front, it serves no actual purpose apart from design, but it is there, and it's a complete dust trap. I mean, it looks brown. I don't know if you can see that on camera. You probably can't. I don't know if I shine the light anymore in it. I mean, there's some horrible, there you go, there's some horrible brown sort of just nastiness in there. Just years and years of people's crap that they disperse from their human bodies. So what I like to do is I like to get a bit of that WD-40 again, and get either WD-40 or rubbing alcohol, something, you know, that's quite strong that can get dirt away but won't necessarily damage the plastic. Like to get it on what I call a cotton bud, an earbud, or what the Americans tend to call it is a Q-tip, and basically just try and get in it that way. Just try and squeeze it in, see how you get on. Don't get me wrong, you might have to use something different, but for most ridges this will work. And I don't know if you can see that, but that is actually just jet black with filth. So getting in those little divots is definitely worthwhile, because it'll make the console look so much newer, and that tends to happen with Mega Drives and things with these sort of grill bits on them. Ataris, for example, I mean, they're terrible for it. But yeah, just another wee thing I do. I know a lot of people probably do the exact same thing, and it's probably not news to them, but, you know, if someone hasn't really thought of doing this sort of thing before, and this happens to be the first video you ever watching it, then at least I've kind of, you know, shared the knowledge. Okay, out of complete curiosity, I've hooked the console up to the TV, the Pong console, and we're going to see if we get any signs of life from it. Because I've got one of these already, I know what power supply it should be using, and it's basically similar to a Sega Mega Drive, / if you're in the US, Sega Genesis power supply. Don't try any power supply that just has the same sort of barrel at the back, because if it's not the right polarity, you're going to blow the wee guy up. Anyway, so basically, I'm going to try turning it on. Oh, we've got beeps coming from it. I'm forgetting that the sounds from this console won't come out of the TV, they'll actually come out of the console, which is quite interesting. Right, so all I need to do now is plug the console into the back of the TV, because I've went and forgot to do that. I've plugged the console into the TV. Yay, there we go. And all I had to do to get the console actually working on the TV was do a quick scan for channels. So it's picked up that station, which I believe was channel 5 or something like that, which I'm not used to seeing consoles appear on. I'm pretty sure that the console used to appear on like the Mega Drive and stuff when you ran it through an RF. I'm pretty sure it used to appear on like channel 2 or channel 1 or something like that. But anyway, once it's finished scanning for channels, I'll show you more of the console. Okay, so weirdly enough, this console shows up on every station, 1 to 5. I didn't know that happened, but maybe it does. Maybe I'm just not, recalling how RF on these old TVs work. Anyway, interesting thing about this console, the sound obviously comes out of the system itself, but if you stick up the volume on the TV, you get sort of the static snow sound. So you have to sort of bump the volume down to 0. Now, I've never had a Pong console. Like, I never had one actively when I was a kid. I was too old. I'm a child of the sort of 90s, so I had a Mega Drive when I was younger. But I'm not sure if that's normal for the audio to come through that way. Nevertheless, the console appears to be working, so let's grab a controller and see if yep, there you go. So the paddle's moving. Not really sure what's going on. Don't know if let me see if I can play with myself. Play with myself, get it? It doesn't seem to be... Do I have to like pick a game mode or something? The collision doesn't seem to be right. Let's see, right, I've got it on slow now, I've got it on baby mode. Oh. There we go. It's working now, it must have been on demo mode. So I'll leave that controller there and we'll try and play the blue player. There we go. So it's funny because this console was listed as faulty for parts, which in the description then said, oh, it's needing tested basically, and the console actually works perfectly fine. The red button on the second controller seems to be a reset button, and the button on the first controller's a serve button, which I find quite weird. That must mean you can only serve if you're on the first controller, something like that. Anyway, that's a bit of a success. That's a success. Console's working fine, and I don't have to actually fix it, so all I need to do is sort of get it looking cosmetically good. I actually might keep onto this one and sell the other one I've got, because I get the feeling that the picture quality on this one's actually better. But I might be able to sort of fix the other one just to be just as good. Anyway. Okay, right, it's time for a mini rant. Okay, you're going to just have to listen to my rant. So, about last month I decided to have a sort of clear out in here, and I binned a load of cables and just stuff I really didn't need and stuff that wasn't working, and just cables basically, and I for the life of me could not find a standard RF cable to plug this bloody thing in. And it took me about an hour there to actually find a cable, and before I couldn't even bloody look at a part of the room without seeing them. So moral of the story is, don't clear out anything, just hoard absolutely everything and you'll have an easier time. Anyway, so I basically just plugged in the Intellivision just to see if I get anything from it. I might not. It might be a fact of, well, sometimes with these consoles, if you don't plug your game in, it doesn't complete the circuit for the power to actually run through the console. So it might be one of those, but I'm just curious to see what happens anyway. So there was a flicker. Yeah, there's definitely something coming from it. The sort of the static snow sort of change there. There is something coming through on channel 3. Okay, that's interesting. So there's something definitely coming through on channel 3. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do another scan for channels and we'll see what we get. Done some jiggery pokery and I've managed to actually get a signal out of this. Basically what I had to do is, just to show you, if I go up to here, you'll see you can change the system. So you get, I'm not going to move it just now, just in case it changes, but you can get like NTSC, France, UK, Europe, for example. It was on Europe, which I think might have picked up the signal anyway, but just to be safe, I've changed it to France for storing this channel manually. And then all I did was I just cycled through the frequencies just until I got something that resembled any sort of signal. Then all I did was go to fine tune and just sort of wiggle it about until it kind of made sense or was like a black screen, because that's what I would expect to see, something like a black screen from this. As you can see, when I turn it off, it goes to static snow. When I turn it on, it's no longer static snow. Don't need to fine tune it, so I've changed it to channel 7 just so it's not in the way of any other channels, and I'll store it. There we go. So that's now on channel 7. So when I get a game to finally like check to see if this console's working correctly, then I should be able to sort of test it further. But until then, I can't really do much with it apart from look at a black screen. Just out of interest, oh shite in the bucket. Like, I've not got a remote for this TV, so it makes it kind of. There we go. Yeah. So that station's gonna stick. When I've got a game, I can fine tune it just to make sure it kind of looks right and stuff. And who knows, that might not be actually kind of the right thing to do with it in terms of tuning it in, but at least I'm sort of getting a sign of life from it where it's actually doing something. And I can't do anything else until I get a game for it. What I was going to try was I was going to put up the volume and then turn it on. Yeah, no volume. No, that's fine. I wouldn't expect there to be any volume. Check it's not shown up in any other stations. Yeah, cool. That's fine. So that's all I can really do with it now. I'm going to jump onto eBay or see if I can get a cheap game from somewhere. So